Hello, my name is Kevin Locke, and tonight I'll be presenting to you a topic on North Korean nuclear proliferation. Now, as I'm sure many of you have known, the media in recent years has been providing heavy coverage on North Korean nuclear program. This media coverage ranges anywhere from almost daily updates on the North Korean nuclear status to even movies such as The Interview. And my main claim today is that despite this heavy media coverage, North Korea's nuclear weapons program poses zero threat to the US or any of its allies. This is being supported by three secondary claims. The first is that North Korea is incapable of engineering nuclear weapons capable of threatening the Western world. The second is that even if North Korea can produce these weapons, the United States is more than capable of neutralizing any of these threats. And my third and final point is that China, even though it is North Korea's closest ally, China actually opposes this nuclear weapons program. Now, from our first point, recent news, as covered by many news stations, has shown that North Korea is incapable of building a fully functional ICBM. And ICBM stands for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, which means that it has to be able to cross the Pacific Ocean and reach the US. However, internationally, space programs are becoming very capable with private corporations even able to reach suborbital flight without government support. However, North Korea has yet to develop ICBMs, which is something that the USSR and US developed over 60 years ago. And in 2015, they still have yet to achieve this. This lack of technological growth in North Korea is due largely in part to its isolation from the rest of the world. Technological advancement depends largely on diffusion between various places. As ideas exchange between places, they come together and create new things. However, since North Korea has completely isolated itself, it cannot receive the knowledge bases required to build nuclear weapons or rockets capable of carrying them, which means that they have to start from scratch. At this rate, the North Korean nuclear program will literally never get off the ground. Now, however, if North Korea does develop these nuclear weapons, the United States is more than capable of handling them, which leads me to my second point. The US, with allies in both South Korea and Japan, has military capability very, very close to the North Korean border, which means that it is capable of responding almost immediately to any kind of nuclear threat that may be launched. The US will be able to respond with any number of nuclear defense programs. During the Cold War, the US obviously invested quite a bit into nuclear defense programs. And these anti-missile systems are still applicable today. Even without these aged missile defenses, there is present-day ongoing development of anti-missile systems that are capable of defeating nuclear weapons at any range, which means that as soon as a nuke leaves North Korea, it can be shot down before it even leaves the atmosphere. Now, my third and final point is that China, despite being North Korea's literal closest ally, opposes their nuclear program. China has actually placed many sanctions in direct response to the North Korean nuclear program. While there may be any number of reasons why this may be the case, one of the most publicly known, most publicly apparent reasons is that the US has pressured China into placing these sanctions. Now, the US, being China's largest trading partner, obviously has a lot of sway with this kind of thing. So China has responded duly with heavy sanctions on North Korea. And in conclusion, North Korea's nuclear program will never be able to threaten the world. This is because of their inability to develop these weapons, the US's capability of defeating any of these weapons that may be produced, and China's direct opposition to these nuclear programs as well. Thank you.
All right, Kevin, this is going to be pretty straightforward because You have a clear proposition, clear secondary claims, you explain the idea behind your argument, and you prove none of it. There's basically no, you say North Korea can't build an ICBM. I'm going, okay, so what's your reason for believing that this is true? I know what your reason for believing it is true is. What proof do you have that that is in fact the case? Do we have an analysis by the Defense Department? Do we have a report from South Korean military? Do we have spy satellites who've told us this kind of thing? No, we're supposed to take it on faith that because they're so isolated and they can't work with other people, that they're incapable of creating a ICBM. All right. By the way, I'm not trying to tell somebody else how to do the response, but I seem to recall that they've had several examples of missile launches that they have done in the last couple of years. I don't know how successful they were. I don't know that they were capable of carrying out, carrying a nuclear weapon, but it doesn't sound like they are incapable of creating a missile that might function, and that seems to me to make it incumbent on you to provide some proof on these particular kinds of claims. The same sort of thing with the idea that we can respond effectively. I sure hope you're right. I got my fingers crossed that we've got everything in place, that we've got anti-missile systems that are going to be good to go, that we can retaliate instantaneously, that sort of thing. However, just the other night, I was looking at an outline. I don't think it's in this class. Somebody who's got a presentation that's talking about how our nuclear weapon systems are not very well maintained, they are not secure, and there's all kinds of places for potential failure. Well, you're saying we should rely on this kind of stuff. I haven't heard that argument yet, but you're the one making the argument that it would work. What reason do we have to believe that it would work? Somebody from the Defense Department, somebody who's evaluated these kinds of things, some sort of scientific assessment, anything like that. So I think you explained your argument really well. You told us why you believe those kinds of things, and then you kind of left us without any proof for that sort of thing. So the issues that you're going to get dinged on have to do with the evidence, not with the argument per se, but with your support for the argument. All right, thank you.